Hello, I'm Dr. William E. Morgan, president of Parker University, here on behalf of Parker Performance Institute, a special clinic that we've developed that's designed to provide performance-enhancing healthcare. And one of the things that we treat up there is traumatic brain injuries and mild brain injuries. One of the common injuries we get are from veterans returning from the war zones where there's blast injuries. In this video, you can see an explosion take place a couple miles away. As you watch the blast wave traveling towards the soldier in this tank, you can see the force hitting them as that blast wave travels thousands of feet a second. And what happens when a blast takes place like this, when a blast wave goes through the air, and most of our veterans have experienced this, there'll be a shock wave that travels through the air and it'll go through the brain. And when that happens, there's a disruption that takes place, something called axonal shear, where the nerve cells actually break at the axon, causing cell death, inflammation, and dysfunction. What we normally would see in some advanced imagery would be normal connections throughout the brain intercommunicating with itself, but after an injury, there could be a disruption where there's broken connections and dysfunction. And this disruption can be described through this analogy of ants. We've all seen a string of ants coming and going, carrying food back to their nest, and seen something disrupt those ants. Well, the ants will be confused for a period of time, but they naturally reorganize their line and go around that obstacle. That's normal. That's roughly how your nervous system should act as well. If you get a mild brain injury, your body naturally will adapt to it. And this is kind of a simplified animation, but if you see there's normal nerve impulses traveling through the brain, but if there's a disruption, it will interfere with that transmission. Normally, if the damage is not too severe, your body will readapt, just like those ants would do, and they would create a new pathway. And the more the impulses travel through the pathway, the more effective and the more efficient it will become. Now, there's times where the disruption is so great that when there's a disruption, your body can't overcome that disruption naturally. And it remains disorganized, and you have those lost connections that we talked about earlier. And so at this point, we would initiate treatments that would help stimulate that redevelopment of those pathways.